Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess it's safe to say that Nintendo is definitely being Nintendo right now, because they're doing things that are just completely out of the ordinary. Like, for instance, they are literally having a Nintendo Direct right now without necessarily having a Nintendo Direct. Nintendo obviously just decided to skip the entire month of September, and it looks like the entire month of October as well, because as of posting this video, this is the last day, and there still hasn't been a single announcement for anything, any Switch 2 related information, any Nintendo Directs, general or mini. There's been no showcases. Instead, Nintendo has taken to Twitter once again to just drop a couple of shadow releases. For instance, they dropped Xenoblade Chronicles X and announced a couple of other weird things, and things have just been going on, and it just feels strange. Clearly in the air we can feel that something is getting ready to happen, but I think a lot of us had given up until next year for anything Switch 2 related. Obviously, I told you I've thrown in the towel, I'm done covering rumors and leaks and anything. No one knows what the heck is happening with Switch 2, and that even includes PRO, it looks like, because PRO was responding to people and it looked like he was giving some vague hints to something coming soon. Apparently was just teasing because all of his hints were just article titles from fan boards. Yeah, PRO teased us. I don't know if he still is alluding to something coming soon, because he still has left up his banner being the clock and also his bio being the eyeballs, so I don't know what the heck he's referring to. Maybe he was just referring to Xenoblade Chronicles X, but he still didn't take these down, so who really knows? But he did delete all his replies. There's once again nothing on his account, so who knows? One of his last replies that's now deleted, I didn't have access to, was someone did ask him if he knew anything about Switch 2, and then he responded, "Only Furukawa knows." So I don't know if he actually has no clue about Switch 2. It looks like it, so it looks like we can just go back to being in the dark, sadly, again. But real quick, guys, if you're enjoying the video, stop what you're doing and make sure you leave a like and subscribe. You guys got up to 97 subscribers in the last video. Let's see if we can break 100 with this video. A lot of you watching are not yet subscribed, so feel free to do so. It helps out a lot. Thanks, guys. But I kind of just removed myself from Switch 2 hype. I just don't have any more. You know what I mean? Like, I have no excitement for this next console as of right now. It just seems so unbelievably dull. Nintendo claimed that they were going to give us information in phases, but by phases, I didn't think we'd have to wait 8 months for the second phase. You know what I mean? And it kind of makes me wish that they didn't even reveal the thing, or at least announce that it was going to be revealed sometime in the fiscal year. Yeah, I know it's glad to like have it officially announced that it's a real thing, but man, I think it'd been nice if we just were able to focus on the games this year instead of clamoring every single month trying to figure out, is Nintendo going to reveal the thing this month, or what about next month? Well, there's always next month. Like, I'm tired of it. But anyways, I'm getting off track, because with all this Switch 2 hype and pandemonium of people trying to figure out when this thing's going to be revealed and all kinds of empty months, there's something that hasn't happened that we're really not focusing on too much, and that's the fact that we really didn't get a general Nintendo Direct, not even a mini Direct. I mean, technically we did get the mini Direct partner showcase combined with Indie World, and that was at the end of August, and still to this day I have no clue why Nintendo decided to push everything towards the end of August. That showcase, and also combining two random showcases together, and even giving us a museum Direct, all like in the last couple of weeks of August, which has never happened before. Why spread out all this empty month slate for nothing? Like, nothing happened in September, nothing happened in October, and I don't know why they had to push that in August so bad. Like, there's no reason for them to do that. But I'm actually extremely shocked that we didn't have any sort of Nintendo Direct recently, not even a mini first-party Direct, because there's stuff that they could have definitely filled a show with. And literally the last couple of weeks and months, they've been announcing little things piece by piece, which could have been all slapped together in one showcase. And I don't know why Nintendo decides to just do this via Twitter, which is strange considering the fact that a lot of people still don't have Twitter, or a lot of people are too young to be on Twitter and they rely on YouTube and stuff to get Nintendo's information. So yeah, I'm never a big fan of Twitter Directs like we call it, which is just a whole bunch of Twitter announcements. I'd rather it be in video showcase, and I know a lot of people are getting worried that Nintendo's going away from it again. No, they're not. They're still going to have Directs and showcases. They're just doing this because this is normally what they do when things are out of the normal. And we know they're out of the normal because Switch 2 is gearing up to be revealed, but no time soon probably, because we're going to have to wait till next year. Which makes me wonder, if it's no time soon, why can't we have a Direct? If we had a Direct in September, think of all the things that they could have actually talked about. They could have easily talked more about Mario and Luigi Brothership, or even done that this month in October. Could have also talked about Super Mario Party Jamboree if they had a direct in September, so those two games could have been on the slate. They could have gave us some new information and maybe just like an update on Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, maybe showing it looking a lot better, because right now it really doesn't look all that great, and maybe showing some things that they could add to it. I don't know if they did, probably not. It's probably just a base game, it's just a remaster, but at least show the game off, give us something to look at, because we know that's like the first game coming next year in January. So I would have took something, and a direct would have been perfect for that. Could have actually gotten some new gameplay and information for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which felt like a perfect time to maybe give us another little look at the game or something. And I'm like, why not? Whoa, like that's a perfect thing to show. I mean, you could have dedicated a big chunk of the show just the Metroid Prime 4. I'm talking like 10 to 12 minutes. I know it's a long time, but they've definitely gone in depth with certain games before. I mean, they've had segments dedicated to Odyssey or Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, so I wouldn't have minded it, even if they just started the show off with it, would have been a pretty big thing. Then Nintendo just recently took to Twitter and announced Xenoblade Chronicles X, so it's truly confusing to me, because this is something that definitely probably would have either started or in the show. So why couldn't they have put these games into a showcase? And based on Samus Hunter, she's claiming that there are multiple other first-party Nintendo games coming to Switch 1 before we even get to Switch 2, which is probably going to be more remakes, remasters, or ports. So why wouldn't Nintendo just fill the Direct with some smaller titles again to tie us over until Switch 2? Because right now, it's not looking good for Switch 2 as if it's coming anytime soon, because we have games slated all the way up until March of next year, so the odds are we're not getting Switch 2 until probably like the summer or holiday the earliest. Outside of those games, there was even more things that they could have announced. For instance, they could have announced the Alarmo Clock. That could have been something like, hey, there's this new alarm clock, you know, showed a quick little overview trailer and just said you can pick it up here. I know it's abnormal for something like a Direct, but they've definitely done stuff like that before, like pausing the Direct to say, hey, here's some movie updates, or hey, there's a museum coming out. So why couldn't they have done that for Alarmo? I felt like that would have been perfect to just slide into a showcase and fill that gap. They just announced Nintendo Music yesterday, so why couldn't they do something with that as well? They could have shown that off in its own little segment. It could have been a couple of minutes and just say, hey, there's a new app you can download in order to listen to Nintendo Music. I think people would have went crazy to see that pop up in a Direct, and it just fit the whole thing perfectly. Don't forget the Nintendo Switch Online playtest program. This is something that could have been announced in the Nintendo Direct, and giving better instructions for how this was going to work, or maybe letting in more players and just announcing the thing during a Nintendo Direct to get more eyes on it. But nope, it was once again a random thing on Twitter one day. Nintendo even announced some new Switch Online games, and one of them was Banjo-Tooie, which made so many people so happy, including myself. I can't wait to get to this game because I played the original Banjo-Kazooie like 100 times, but for some reason I'd never gotten around to playing Banjo-Tooie. So this was super exciting for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people out there, and it's one of those games that people wanted for a while. There were some other NSO games announced too, but yeah, this is some stuff that could have been revealed in the Nintendo Direct. Dude, I could go even further. They could have showed off some stuff for Pokemon Legends ZA, because that's a big deal for Pokemon fans next year. And we know Pokemon just suffered a giant, massive Giga Leak, so it probably would have been a good idea to at least show something of this game, and doing it in a general Nintendo Direct would have been pretty big. And none of this is even talking about third-party announcements. Nintendo could have had a pretty decent show. Would it have been anything crazy? Absolutely not, but it would have been perfect for the time period that we're in. We know not to expect something huge from a Nintendo Direct. I mean, I had super low expectations for the June one, and they still surprised us. And apparently, like I said, with people like Samus Hunter reporting that we're going to get a lot of other first-party games coming to Switch 1, and I believe them, considering the fact that, well, they predicted Xenoblade Chronicles X down to the T by saying the app X was a hint, so clearly they know something. But it's also clear that this is just a weird year. Nintendo's just announcing random things on Twitter. They have announced literally everything but the Switch 2 at this point. They've announced a whole clock, a music app, they've announced some online playtest, and tons of other games. It's just like, literally, they have announced everything but the Switch 2. I mean, next week they're gonna come and say a Nintendo-themed pillow is coming, or bed, or a toothbrush, or something. I'm sure there's something else in the pipeline. So it is a little confusing how Nintendo decides to run things, but you know what? It's Nintendo. At the end of the day, you can't blame them for anything because they know what they're doing. I mean, with how successful the Switch was, I think they deserve a break. My thought process is it seems as if Nintendo is trying to get out as many announcements as they possibly can at the last second before this investors meeting, which once again, why couldn't they just done this at a normal time in October when you had many weeks of nothing happening, and same with September. But they're all flushing it out at the very end here of October, about to enter November, and of course, that investors meeting coming up. I'm very curious to see if Nintendo's got some good stuff to share, if it's going to be bad stuff with sales just dropping even more. Are they going to announce anything with the Switch 2 again, or are they just going to completely ignore it? Who knows? It could be a bunch of nothing, or it could be something interesting. I mean, we thought the last one was going to be boring, but they actually gave us information about the console, that it was coming, it's a thing. We're just going to have to wait until the end of the fiscal year. And it looks like Nintendo might make us wait to the literally end of the fiscal year, but let's just wait and see what happens. It should get at least somewhat interesting as we approach next week and hear what they say during this fiscal meeting. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stop what you're doing and make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Nintendo. And like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.